Well, good Wednesday morning. No, you don't need to come in. It's gonna be nice today. Yeah, you guys can stay outside. Yeah, you're all blocked outside. Well, that's good for you. Do some morning chores. Press start old blue, eh? Pretty damn warm this morning. I think it's about, what, 20? So that's kind of nice. I mean, it's been better than 20, waking up to 20 below a couple days ago, so. We're gonna stir this old fucking fire around and grab a few chunks to throw in it. So I know somebody's gonna say it. As much as you might like to think it, takes more than just Budweiser to sculpt this body of twisted steel and sex appeal. Harvey, no! Well, good enough. 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan, 3.6 liter. Tranny cooler lines are leaking. So let's get into it, shall we? All right, tranny cooler lines on this thing. Right there, center of the screen, below that fusible link there. That's, I assume, for trailer tow. Those lines are leaking. It actually drips and runs down the front cover. So we need to jump in here and we need to get these lines disconnected. They connect back here. You can see the gray connector there, the black protector there. I shouldn't say connectors, they're protectors. And then up here in front of the grill, you can see in there, we gotta dig them out of there too. Okay, so a couple of push pins, little expanding pins on the front there. We got a magnetic tray up here. I'm going to take those out. We have a you're going to need a 10 millimeter socket. There's bolt here, bolt there, and a bolt there. Same thing on that side. Take those out. Magnetic tray. All of them. All the time. Just do it. So you see how this flexes a little bit? Perfect. Fucking minty. Now, there's going to be a couple of bolts here and here because there's some diagonal supports coming in from each side. We got to take the bolts out of them as well. So for that, we'll grab a 10mm gear wrench. Now that we've taken those other bolts out, we have a little bit of flex in this front grille. I believe the recommended procedure for this is to take the front cover, bumper cover off. We're not going to do that. Why? Because I said so. And if I'm not wrong, all those bolts are identical, so you don't have to try to keep separate. Now if we pull this corner of the grill back, you'll see there's a bolt there and a bolt there. So we're gonna go ahead and take those out, and then we should be able to lift that upper radiator support and move it out of the way. Okay, now that bolts are removed, this will come up, but remember your hood release cable is still attached because we're not removing the hood latch because we don't need to at this point. We can take this and set it over just like that. No reason to take unnecessary stuff apart. So, okay, I'm going to remove the engine cover to give me a little bit more access. It's just held on using those little rubber grommets. Little tug comes right off. So now you can see down in here, we have nice clear access to be able to get in here and work on these lines. Sorry. Light in the way. Clear access to get in there and work on those lines. So I'll show you how we're going to take that apart. Okay, so you're going to want like a nice long 90-degree pick like this. And then a relatively small flat screwdriver. Take your flat screwdriver, come down here. And I'm showing you how to do this with common tools that you would have. They do make a special service tool for this, but it's not really necessary. And most of the time it doesn't work if you have a corrosion issue on the fittings. So now I'll try to zoom this in, crop it, and zoom it in on this because this is going to be a little bit hard for you to see. There's a clip here. And when we take this clip out, fuck, I'm going to try to do this without shooting a bastard across the... Let me get you down here. There's a little E-clip that goes in here, and it that's your retainer. So you can see that little clip moving. So that's the end of it right there. So what I want to do is kind of keep my finger in the way so with this thing, when it releases, it doesn't completely fly out of there. See how I did that right there? Now get your pick tool underneath it. Oh. For fuck's sake. Okay, get your pick tool behind there and walk your finger on there. Okay. Now this is where a magnet comes in handy. When you got it sitting there like that, it's easier to just grab a magnet and get a hold of it with the magnet, because otherwise they can take off on you. So we'll take our magnet, get a hold of the little bastard, and walk it out of there. There you go. Make sure you stick this in your magnetic tray. In there, or you're gonna lose the fucking thing. So now your line, it should, a little bit of twisting, a little bit of pulling, and it should come out of there pretty easy. Don't start horsing on it or you're gonna break that fitting. It goes on top of the transmission. So there you go. Now I'll just start that back in there so it doesn't leak and seep out. 3 more of those little clips, and I'll bring you back. So these ones on the front here can be particularly challenging, and as a little bit of a self-defense mechanism, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip here. Be right back. Take a couple of shop rags and stick down in here, because that way, hopefully, if you do drop the clip, it'll land in the shop rags. Kind of create yourself a little catch basin down in there, because this little rubber flapper doesn't help you any in trying to get these clips out. So again, take your flat screwdriver, lock that little shield back. May as well do them both while you're here. It's just more efficient that way. Then we can take our pick. So the clip is coming up, right? It's that way up on the fitting. So I'm going to try to walk it around this way. It's going to give me a better opportunity to work with it. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So what I'm doing is I'm using that pick to push it against my finger and hold it there. Because again, you don't want to lose these. I do have some spares, but most of the time, like on this cooler, you'd have to buy the cooler because they won't sell you just those fittings or those clips from the dealer. You can find them in the aftermarket, but if you do a little front end work or something like that where you're changing one of these coolers, make sure you go over and save those damn things, because if you don't have any and in a pinch, you're going to lose son of bitches. So I'll pull the other one out and we'll get the lines out of here. So you see that? It's exactly what I mean with that rag right there. That thing would have went flying into the fucking abyss if I went to put rags down in there. I went to take it off. It sprung on me and fell right onto the rags, just like I was trying to prevent, or hoping for, rather than going down inside that front bumper and front fascia area. And again, if you don't have one, you're going to be searching for that son of a bitch forever. Okay, again, twist, pull, twist, pull. Those ones are loose. I just set the tips back in there. That way the line's not running all over the damn place, making a mess on me. So now these ones are the same way. You can see where my hand is at here. Just go nice and pull nice and easy. There you go. Those ones are out. So this line assembly doesn't have any special retainers on it. It's just retained on both sides by the clips. You're gonna get a little bit of spillage out of there. There's your old line assembly. Put that in a drain pan to drain out. Okay, so before you go and put your line assemblies in, you can put these little retainers back in the fitting, and I'll explain to you why here in a second. But you got to make sure that you're putting them in correctly. So you figure out where your hole is on this. Like there's that one, so I need to span it. And I need it to snap in so you can see the three little dimples on that clip going in there. See if I can get you in here for a closer view on this one. I try to keep my fat fucking fingers out of the way for you, but I don't want to lose this clip either, so. So there's one of my holes right there. Span it. And see how that snaps in? You got those. So you can see all them right there. And you should be able to. That's to keep that line from popping out of there. So. Okay, so your line assembly, your ends with the less bend in them. Notice that one hooks around. That one not so much. That's your cooler side. So you loop them down underneath the battery and wire harness there. And then we make sure your top and bottom correct. We'll go ahead and snap this in on the bottom line first, just because it makes it a little bit easier. And I told you I'd show you why you can put those clips in. Ugh. How'd you get stuck there? See this little taper on there? That spreads that clip open and allows that line to go in and snap behind it, and that clip holds onto that shoulder right there. That's what retains it into the fitting. So you can also double check these with a mirror once you have them in place to make sure you see the edges of the clip before you put the little plastic retainers on. You should see the spring expand when the fitting goes in and then contract again. Then you know that that fitting has gone past the barb or the shoulder on that line. So essentially the same thing down here. Same thing down here, just if you look in there closely, you can see the edges of that clip behind that shoulder. At least I think you can. Clip this one in. Hey, get you out of there, so. Okay, so now these little black retainers, what those are for is to keep that clip from being able to expand and let that fitting out. So you want to snap those back over the top here. That's kind of like the safety on there to make sure that those retainers can't expand and allow the fitting to release. Here we go. New cooler lines are installed. We just gotta go ahead and put everything back together. So we'll start by putting the engine cover back on. Just a couple firm presses and it just pops right back onto those little rubber or little plastic pegs that those rubber grommets sit on. Guide this back underneath. Don't pull too hard on your grill there because you'll break your fucking grill. So don't be a heathen about it. You don't need to be. The little hood release cable bracket. I probably didn't have to take those bolts out, but I did for that. So it's going to be a little bit of a pain in my butt, but that's all right. My butt. It's a double conundrum, is that what that's called? So we're going to start those first. And just zip them up. Perfect. Now you want to make sure, usually there's witness marks. In this case, this one has alignment pegs. There's little pegs here. Make sure those line up with your holes so everything lines up nice. Don't forget about those two bolts that were hidden down in there. We want to get those before we snug up that grill. Again, nobody needs to get crazy with the impact here. These are just little 6mm bolts. Two in the front. Set them in your gear wrench. I should have waited to put those bolts in, but that's okay. We'll make it work. We'll use our push pin tool. You notice how the ratchet doesn't want to ratchet yet? There's not enough resistance. You just need something to touch the back of that. I'm not prying on it. Because you're just trying to touch the back of that to make that have some resistance to ratchet. That's all you're doing. That's it. That's it. That's it. Oh, fuck. Last two pieces, these are little expanding push pins. Pop those in there, push your center down. Does it expands it so it doesn't want to come back through the hole. Put your magnetic tray back. By the way, we're doing a live stream on Grumpy Farmers at 7 Eastern. You know who that guy is? January. Should be tomorrow. Jimmy from Barn Talking. If you don't know Jimmy from Barn Talking, you can fuck right off. So, a little brake cleaner. Because we need some. Get in here. Clean up your fucking mess. Wherever you got the shit. Get it out of there. Clean off that fucking front pan and all that where it was before, because you don't want your customer thinking that you had a fucking, they still have a leak. Oh, empty. Alright, give me some more of this. I don't need to cover. Okay. Also, a little whiz-bang tip for you. That little arrow on the end needs to point at that ink dot right there. You ever wonder why your brake cleaning can runs out when it gets to about 20%? Because you didn't point that son of a bitch at that ink dot. That's not a lie either. That's the absolute truth. So there's like a fiber foam cover over the front of the transmission there. So you want to get all this, clean it all off, right? Brake cleaner is cheaper than having your customer come back and say, hey, I got a leak, when it's just residual dripping on the ground. Make fucking sure. Also, I forgot my rags in there, but that's okay. We'll get them out. We can go through there. So don't forget your rags in there either. Because when they're walking by the front of their vehicle, go, what the? Take this. Not that. This. Go in here. Go fishing. Get your eggs. One more. These customers probably wouldn't care, but, and that one's on there until the vehicle's done and not off the video for privacy reasons. So not you creepy fuckers trying to go around stock customers. So there you go. We did that. Next step is to fire it up, check for leaks, and then I'll explain to you how to check the transmission fluid level. Spotlight for leaks. Nothing. Look at how nice and clean it is down there now. Same thing here. Spotlight for leaks. Look right in there. I see a little bit of residual tranny fluid right there that I can brake clean off too. Again, clean it up. Clean it up. Take care of your customers, they'll take care of you. Every time. It's 81 degrees in the shop, so my brake cleaner works really good. It's got a little extra whop to it. It's probably why I'm sweating a little bit too. So we're gonna discuss the process to check the fluid on this thing, then I'll back it outside and do it. It's a little bit of a complicated fucking shit show. So Chrysler, in their fucking infinite wisdom, and most manufacturers now, don't give you the ability to check this with a dipstick, per se. There is, oh, see, there's a little bit of tranny fluid in that connector right there that I want to get rid of. See? That's why we keep looking. Keep looking, looking, looking. Always look. You can never get it too clean for your customer, I can tell you right now. There you go. There's this little tube right here, if you can see it. See the end of that little tube? So that's actually a dipstick tube, but what it is, I'll pull it out of there. I'll just reach in here and pull it out. It's just a cap. There's no actual dipstick in it, okay? So, the reason they do that is because they don't like people adding shit to their transmissions, and they've had less premature transmission failures due to additives being put in it. That, for me as a mechanic, makes it a pain in my ass. So, you can go buy the fancy universal dipstick from Chrysler that's, I don't know what they get for the fucking thing, and it's measured out in millimeters. Or you can go find a dipstick out of a fucked up blown engine, clean the bastard off good, and you can measure it out yourself. So on this vehicle, full line is going to be full hot. Now I got to go drive it to get it hot anyway. It's going to be about 2 inches. 2 1/16. You can probably go 2 1/8. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. Low point is going to be about 1.5. 1 5/8. Measured from the end. It doesn't matter how long the dipstick is because they made it so the dipstick goes in and stops. And then it's measured from the end. So it's not like a traditional, some of the traditional ones where the end of the handle of the dipstick was what was responsible for setting the depth. It has a stop on it. And then based on temperature scale, you'd have to put a scan tool on it and pull up your transmission temp PID. Then they give you a chart you can go off of. Go drive the bastard, get it to about you go through a good road cycle about 5 miles of at least one good acceleration, a turnaround, and another good acceleration coming back. Get the transmission warm, keep it between 1.5 and 2 inches, and fucking send it, okay? If you don't feel confident in your abilities to do that, take it to a fucking mechanic and have them check it for you. So again, I'm going to do that outside, but that's the easiest way for me to explain that to you, because otherwise it's kind of a pain in the ass and it's a little bit of a shit show. So there you go. Make sure it's running when you check it, running in park. 1.5 to 2 inches. Keep it on the 2 inch side. You're going to be fine. Low is going to be at 1.5. So keep it a quarter closer to 2. On another note, as a courtesy to your customer, clean those leaves off. Also, another thing, don't go telling the customer that you did this. Okay? It doesn't matter. They'll be like, yeah, I clean the leaves after call for you, but I'm not going to charge you for it. That's bullshit. Just take care of your customers for them. Not that big of a deal. Do not tell them, do not charge them. That's a free service. They're in here for a service anyway. Let's give it back a little bit. So there you go. Transmission cooler lines on a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan, 3.6 liter. Do appreciate you guys. If you like what I'm doing, throw me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, ring the bell, get my notifications. Memberships are down there if you want one. And I do appreciate it because it helps me do stupid shit on my channel when I'm fixing my own shit, not when I'm fixing other people's stuff. See you next time.